Okay, guys, this is called composite functions. I wanted you to see what you're up against. It's very similar to the last assignment I made up, so please be careful when you upload your homework. Put your assignment in the correct location. Here we go. Composite functions. Problem number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of those are what we call composite functions. I wanted to do this separately because sometimes people get multiply confused with composite. So this one is going to focus on that. You'll notice something like this, number 13 here, that says HGX. We just did that. That's multiplying. I would take H and I'd multiply it times G. That's what I would do. This is not the same thing as HG of X. This is multiply. This is what we call composite. In mathematics, when you use parentheses, it will change the meaning of a statement. So notice the difference. There's no parentheses between the H and the G here. Over here, there's a lot of parentheses. Please do not be sloppy, quick, and miss that point, because composite function is totally different than multiplying. Now, you'll see I brought back some oldies but goodies. Like down here, I have a couple add subtracts and stuff. So when you finally do get to the test, you are going to see a section where I will just make up random stuff for you to figure out, and you've got to be careful not to do the wrong thing, because multiplying, composite, they are not the same thing. So let's just get started. That's the answer key, but I don't want you to be looking at that right now. Let's just talk about composite functions. So once again, just like I did in the last video, I'm going to make up some playing pieces. So I'm going to call f of x this time 4x minus 3. Oh, I'm going to call g of x 2x plus 6. I got to call it something. I'm making it up. How about h of x? Let's have a third function. And this time I'm going to do x squared minus 4x minus 5 more. Okay, so like I said, I am not going to be doing multiply or anything like that. I'm just going to try and focus my energies on what we call composite functions. And this is when we plug a function into another function. That's what a composite function is. So the key word here, substitution. That's what I'm going to be doing basically. It's substitution. So let's just start with the basics. I am going to do what's called f of g of x. What does that mean? Well, what is g? Well, I just made it up. G is 2x plus 6. That's what g is. Well, guess what? I'm going to take that function and I'm going to plug it in where I see the x in the f function. So what does f do for a living? F says whatever you give me, I am going to multiply it by 4 and then subtract 3. That's f of g of x. But I'm not done. I don't just leave it there. I clean it up. I make it pretty. I go 8x plus 24 minus 3. So the grand total, what do I get? 8x plus 21. That's what I get. 8x plus 21. What is that guy called? He's called f of g of x. What did I do? I substituted 2x plus 6 into the x value of the other function. Now notice, I did not put it next to the x. I did not. I did not do this, because this is a big mistake. Some people go, oh, I just put it right next to the x. Well, no, that would mean I'm multiplying by 4x. I'm not. I replace that thing with this. Okay? There's a big difference. So be very careful. You're substituting it in. You're completely replacing the other variable with the other function. Now, I'm erasing all that junk because I can do this forwards and backwards. I can. But it does not necessarily mean I get the same answer. This guy would be pronounced g of f of x. So g of f of x is a composite, but this time I'm doing it the other way. What is g? Well, g says whatever you give me, I'm going to multiply it by 2, and then I'm going to add 6 to it. So what am I going to replace that with? What this guy is. Oh, I'm going to put this into the other guy this time. And then, once again, I'm not done. I want to clean it up, make it pretty. And I get what? 8x minus 6 plus 6. Oh, look. That's what g of f of x equals. They're not the same thing. And guess what? They rarely turn out to be the exact same answer. There's only one time when they turn out to be the exact same answer, and that's going to be in the next video, because that's a whole different thing. But what is this unit all about? It's about things we can do with functions. We can add them, subtract them, multiply them, divide them. We can compose them. So this composite of functions means I'm going to replace the other function into the other guy's variable. I'm substituting. That's what I'm doing. So I'm gonna do what I did in the last video. I'm gonna cut all this stuff out of the way so I don't have to keep scrolling down and rewriting my functions. So cut, and we're gonna try this one. How about I do g of h of x? Now, h of x is a big boy. That's a big guy. What is h of x? He's all of this stuff. That's what he is. He's going to get substituted in right there. Let me erase this one so you don't... I'm going to plug it in right where that x is. So what does g do to stuff? G says, whatever you give me, in this case, you're going to plug h in. I'm going to multiply you by 2. I'm going to add a 6 to you. So let's clean it up. Let's make it pretty. And what do we get? 2x squared minus 8x minus 10 plus 6. So smush it down, make it smaller. That guy's big. He goes first. I go second. These two guys can get smushed together. And this dude right here would be called g of h of x. Let that sink in for a second. I just substituted. This is called composite functions. Now, once again, g of h of x is not necessarily the same thing as h of g of x. Doesn't have to be the same. In fact, you will find that none of these are the same. I picked them out on purpose like that. So you have to do all the work. What am I doing this time? Okay, let me get rid of my highlighter pen on this guy. And this time, hey, whoops, wrong dude. Whoop, didn't mean to do that. This time, wherever there's an x, and there happens to be 2 of them in h, I'm going to put g there. So follow along. G. That's what g is. It's going to replace the x squared. So instead of x squared, I got 2x plus 6 squared. Minus, not 4x, but 4 times 2x plus 6. And then what's the last thing h does? Takes away 5. So everywhere you see that x, I replaced it with G. Now, I wanted to do one like this because I want to remind you guys, you cannot do this. Whoop, bam, whoop, bang. You cannot. Drop it like it's hot. Drop it. You can't do that. It's a binomial. You can do that if it's a monomial, but if it's a binomial, you got to do the old FOIL here. So I'm going to have 2x plus 6 times itself minus 4 times 2x plus 6 minus 5. So let me warn you right now. You're going to see an answer key, of course, for this. But if you just write down the answer, I'm going to know you didn't do the work because I can't do this in my head. I got to FOIL this. I got to do all this work. I got to go 4x squared plus 12x. There's another 12x. There's 36. I have to do all that. Then I have to go, minus. Well, wait, the negative comes with that 4. So minus 8x minus 24. And then last but not least, minus 5. And now I got to put all this stuff together. So don't tell me you can do this in your head. If you can, you have an enormous head. All right, 4x squared. Let's combine terms. I got 12 plus 12 more, take away 8 of them. So that's what? 24. Take away 8, I have 16 x's. And then 36 minus 24 minus 5 more. So 36, take away 24, take away 5 is 7. This guy right here has a name. The name, h of g of x. That's the name. Hey, so that one's done. And if you look, h of g of x and g of h of x, they are not the same dude. They are not. So, what we're practicing is something called composite functions. You take one function, you plug it into the other. Just be real careful. And you know what? Write out your steps. If you're trying to do it and avoid writing down work, it's just going to make it harder on you. Just write it out. You know, they're not all that bad. For example, what if they asked me to find h of g of 3? Well, guess what? I just created this beautiful function right here, so I could say, hey, calculator, help me out. I need to plug a 3 in wherever I see the letter x. And then I already talked about this in the last lesson. I just have to punch it in correctly to my calculator, which knows how to do the order of operations. And I hit equals, and it tells me the answer is 91. When you plug 3 into this guy, into h of g of x, you will get an answer. Voila. What if they said, what is g of h of 3? Well, let's find out. What did we have for a function for g of h of x? My g of h of x is right up here. It was 2x squared minus 8x plus 4. That's what g of h of x was. Oh, minus 4. Ooh, don't want to blow that. So what does this mean? It means, hey, replace all of these x's with 3's. See, it's substitution. Don't make your life harder than it has to be. Do the substitution there. And then once again, you want to grab your calculator, you could do that. Or some of you guys are like, well, I just did it in my head because I know order of operations. 3 squared is 9. 9 times 2, that's 18. Minus, that's just 24. Minus 4 more. Sometimes grabbing the calculator slows you down. I'm already doing this in my head, and I know the answer's got to be negative 10. But you want to do it on a calculator? I'm going to do it. Just double check to make sure that I didn't do anything goofy in my brain. But my calculator agrees with me. It says, hey, negative 10 is all right. So, hopefully, you guys are like, oh, okay, this is a new thing you can do with functions called composing them. We call them composite functions. And really, there's not much to it. You take one function, plug it into the other. But I warned you guys earlier, something like g of h of x is not the same as GHX. That's why I threw some review problems in on this assignment. I want to make sure you don't make this mistake. Okay, so once again, I already found out what this guy is. I did. I found out that this guy's name was this. That's what g of h of x was. GHX, let's do this one, because we didn't see anything that had this trick in it in the last lesson, so I'm going to incorporate it into this one. Remember, G has a purpose in life, and H has a purpose in life. So what is G doing? G is 2x plus 6. So what does GHX mean? It means I'm going to take 2x plus 6, and I'm going to multiply it by H. And I believe that's what H said. Let me just double check. H says x squared minus 4x minus 5. Yes, it does. So, what do I do with this? Well, it's kind of like FOIL, but you're triple distributing. That guy's going to hit all three of those dudes. This guy's going to hit all three of those dudes. So let's see what happens here. 2x times x squared is 2x third. 2x times minus 4x minus 8x squared. And then minus 10x. That's the first set. I already did that. Now let's look at the next set of problems. I get 6x squared minus 24x minus 30. Ooh, I just squeezed that in. I'm running out of room. Let's smush it together, make it smaller. Who's the biggest dude? 2x cubed is the biggest dude. I have a minus 8x squared. I have a plus 6x squared. That's minus 2x squared. I got a negative 10 and a minus 24. That's negative 34x. And then, what about me? Don't forget about, okay, I won't. So you can see the composite turned out to be this, but the product, when they say the word product, means when you're multiplying, turned out to be this. That's totally different. Okay, so just remember, that's a triple distribute to get that answer. Now, there's really not much more for me to say except for what I just showed you, G times H. You're going to run into that on the homework. So I'm going to have you guys do one on your own. Hopefully you get it. And let's see. I am going to ask you to do FHX. Hey, is that a composite or is that a product? What's the answer? That is a product. I am multiplying. So I'm going to take F, and F is this guy. We haven't played with him in a while. G is this guy. So let me make sure that's F. What did I call F? And there's F, 4x minus 3. Yes, I did it right. So there's my 4x minus 3. So you know what? Why don't you pause the video right here and see if you can do it, and then hit play, come back, and see if you got it right. Go ahead, pause it. I am assuming you are coming back from a pause. So that's going to get 3. That goes 3, triple distribute. I would get 4x cubed minus 16x squared minus 20x. Then I'm going to do this one. So now I'm doing minus 3x squared plus, because I don't want to make a sign error, plus 12x and plus 15. And then let's smush it together. I'm the biggest one, so I go first. Okay, that's how it works. And then that and that, combined terms, negative 19 of them. Then I got minus 20 plus 12, that's minus 8 total. And then plus 15. This guy's name would be FHX. And that would be my answer. Once again, if they said, what is FH of 2? I could do that too. I could just say, hey, that just means take my last answer that I just got and put a 2 everywhere I see a letter. And I could once again use my calculator. This would be something I'd probably want to just grab my calculator. And I could put all that goop in there. And what the heck, let's double check. Let's see if you got it right. I'm grabbing my calculator right now. I'm going to say 4, but parentheses 2 to the third power, etc., etc. Ooh, don't want to forget to square that part. Minus 8, la 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 la. And as long as I punched all the buttons in correctly, I am going to trust that my calculator is not a liar. My answer is negative 45. That is it. Okay? So, our first video, we learned that we can add, subtract, multiply, divide. This one, we talked about something called composite functions. When you plug a function into another one, you're just using substitution. Now, in the next video, we have 2 more to go. The next one, I show you what this means. And you might go, oh, negative power. Well, guess what? It doesn't mean negative power. I explain this in my next video. So the reason I'm mentioning this is on your next unit test, all it's talking about is functions. What can you do with functions? What can you do with functions? Well, you can add them. You can subtract them. You can multiply them. You can divide them. You can compose them. And then you can do this little dude, which is coming up in the next one, called invert it, or find its inverse. That is it. And then we are done with this unit. So I told you last week this would be a quick lesson. It's quick, or a quick unit. So here we go. Here's the practice problems. I'm going to scroll up. Here are the practice problems. And notice I made up new functions to play with. These are not the same ones I used in my examples. And notice the difference. That is a product. That's multiply. That is a composition. Okay? So don't blow it there. Multiply and composite are not the same thing. Okay. Then you're going to want to check your work. And your work, well, guess what? These did not make themselves up. I had to make them up by doing all your practice problems first, so I'd have an answer key for you. Believe me, it did not, it took me 2 pages of paper to make up this answer key. So please don't just write down the answers and give them back to me. You got to earn them, or you won't learn them. Oh my gosh, poet, didn't know it. Fresh. Okay. Video 3 is the next one. Bye-bye.